You are now listening to Thinking Out Loud with your hosts, J. Lip and J.Rhodes.
Thinking Out Loud, we back at it, man. Another week. It's your boy J. Lip. We back in the building, co-hosted by your boy J.Rhodes. J.Rhodes, what's up, baby?
What's up, bro? We back.
Yes, sir. And we got two special guests in the building tonight. One is a friend of the family. We got G. G, what's up, baby?
Oh man, not much. Just ready to get into these topics. Let's go.
All right, and then we have true family right now, the brethren. TheyCSmith, as you may know him as his producer name. We gonna go by C Smith on the podcast. C Smith, what's good, baby?
What's the word, man? I'm ready.
All right, let's get it in, man. This past couple of weeks, we've been getting into a lot of deep topics. So today, we're going to take a step back and get into something a little bit more smooth in general. We're going to talk about this music industry right now and the impact on the black community. There's a couple of topics that I want to dive into with y'all since I have so many esteemed members that have been a part of the music industry. And to kind of give a quick background, G, why don't you tell them what you've been a part of?
Oh man, I write, I produce, I sing, play a few instruments. I've put out a couple projects, try to diversify my music between, combining that African culture with hip hop and R&B. Yeah, it's just real smooth sounds.
You make reggae music?
I do.
And AC Smith, what you got as your musical background, baby?
I started off my freshman year at MSU. And actually, you introduced me to Fruity Loops and Reason, so I ain't looked back ever since. So since then, worked with a couple of artists from Detroit. Had a big song a few years ago that went pretty big viral on Instagram and did pretty good on Soundcloud. And worked with Murder Mook recently, and just still on the grind.
And then J.Rhodes, what's your musical background?
Been a music producer, music artist. Founder of a label 2 times, but now, like I said, I use a lot of music, original music in my films. So it's pretty much a natural progression.
And what happened to those labels?
We got older and we moved on to different things.
I feel you. And myself, I can say that I definitely was a member of what J.Rhodes refuses to acknowledge is CEO Music. Capitalize every opportunity. I did my thing with that for a short time, but the contract was real fucked up. I had to dip, so that's what it was. So listen, we got G in the building, and he's representing West African music with sounds like fusion with current R&B in America. Correct, G?
Yes.
We got C Smith. He's representing the D, working with major artists and shopping his beats, right?
That is correct.
We got J.Rhodes, who's had a history as being a producer. He's also had some management experience. And then you got myself, who has been one of the artists he's managed. So let's dive into this music thing. Music in general with the black community, we represent ourselves with hip-hop. I think we can all agree that hip-hop music is kind of culturally a part of our upbringing and a part of kind of like it's the lifeline of what we consider to be our music, quote unquote. So how do y'all feel the state of hip hop is right now? In general, from a traditional sense, where are we at? Is it alive? Is it dead? Is it on life support? What you think?
I think hip hop is still alive. Music is something that is malleable and is subject to change over time. Every generation puts their spin on it. Real hip hop is still alive in the forms of few artists today. I will say it's not as big or mainstream as it was before, because today's generation, all they care about is, instrumentals, beats. Content is not necessarily at the forefront as it was before, but I wouldn't say hip hop is dead. It's on life support. I think it's fully alive through, certain artists like J.Cole and Kendrick Lamar, Joey Badass, to name a few.
Well, me personally, I never thought hip-hop was dead. Everybody been saying that ever since Nas came out with that song. I think they thought it was dead because, the whole shift with the snap music and down south pretty much took over the boom bap sound, and they started coming out with the trap music. So they thought it was dead because their sound was dying down. So in other words, you could say the original 90s golden era sound died out. So that was my take on that. But I think it's at the highest it's ever been when it comes to like commercializing most of these artists now. Like they got all these companies branding them, and
Yeah.
They just got everybody behind them now. Like they pretty much, they mad because they set up the shit for the new generation, and they're benefiting. They benefiting from it more. So if I was an old head, of course I'd be bitter in a way, but at the same time, I clap for them. Be like, damn, I helped them get to where they at now. But I think there's artists. It's always gonna be some shitty artists, and it's always gonna be good artists. Like every generation, like back in the '70s and the late '70s, early '80s, they wasn't dropping the best bars. Like
Right.
listen to what they were saying back then. Man, Curtis Blow was on that ABC 123. Like they was not lyrical back then. Like everybody say, oh, they were like Run DMC. What were they really saying? Like what bars were they really dropping? The artists now are more lyrical than dudes were back then.
Now saying the
past 20 years.
Now saying that you're gonna make a lot of old heads mad saying that Run DMC wasn't saying shit like.
Right.
You're gonna make a lot of old heads mad, C. Smith.
But the question is traditional hip hop, though, because J. Lip specifically said it's traditional hip hop dying or on life
support.
Right,
I said, is it dead? Is it on life support or is it thriving? Like one of the three.
That's why I said hip hop is dead. I said the trap sound took over the original 90s hip hop golden era sound. So in that state, it is dead.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah,
what you think,
I agree with C. Smith on a lot of sentiments because, like, in a way, hip hop is as alive as it's ever been. You got so many different artists, you could be who you want to be now. Back in the 90s, you had to be a thug from New York, grimy dude spitting them hard bars. Now you got people like Yachty and Little Uzi Vert, rocking pink hair with piercings and tattoos all over their face, talking about drugs and whatever. So it's like you could be who you want to be. But going back to what you said, traditional hip hop is still alive in a certain sense, but I just think we don't live in as much a traditional time either.
Yeah, facts.
What is traditional hip hop to y'all?
You got J Dilla, old boom bap sound, like sample based. Like all their music back then, there wasn't no.
That's traditional. Original. Is that traditional though?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you think it wasn't?
Because
that's
you could
when hip hop was at its peak, right?
But you could say that that's the evolution of hip hop.
Traditional hip hop was Run DMC.
Yeah, Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang. You could throw a lot of stuff in there to me.
You don't think of Run DMC and Curtis Blow as traditional hip hop?
But Rose just said
as pioneers.
But Rose just said Run DMC, and then you said you can't consider Run DMC traditional hip hop. So between the two of y'all, like, what is traditional hip hop?
A lot of their music was rock based sampled, like because they had Rick Rubin produced their music. Rick Rubin only produced for how many people back then? He did Run DMC and Beastie Boys.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Rock and J Dilla and Primo produced for damn near every hip hop artist in New York back in the 90s.
I know,
that's what you consider a traditional rap. When you hear a Primo beat, when you hear a Pete Rock beat, it's like, oh man, that's classic hip hop right there. You never say, when you hear you're like, oh, that's classic hip hop. You never hear that statement.
Yeah, I feel like if you hear traditional hip hop, the term traditional hip hop, you immediately think of a beat. But I think it's more than that too. You got to incorporate the content. You know what I'm saying? What they were talking about, because even though they were talking about money, cars, being out on the streets, they were more creative with it back then. Now there's no creativity whatsoever. Half the time you can't even understand what they're saying. So for me, traditional hip hop also includes the language. You know what I mean? Like, they incorporated the struggle of Black people. They incorporated the times they were going through, and they came, for traditional in a traditional hip hop sense, they came with it bar for bar. For me, I'm talking Rakim, the Jay-Z's, the Tupacs, the Biggies, like. That's what I think of.
But you just named the greats. Like, come on now.
Right. No doubt about it. But I'm saying in terms of like musical content, that factors in for me when I think of traditional hip hop. You know what I mean? Like,
but why though? Why is that traditional?
Because of the content and the flow too. Like, I'm simply going off of what they're saying. Let's take
it back for a second.
The beat out of the equation.
But you can't take the beat out because I feel like the beat is half of the music.
Yeah. Okay. In that sense,
the best bars on garbage beats, and you'll never.
All you gotta do is All you gotta do is listen to a
Okay,
Nas album.
so in a sense, that's what I'm
Whoa,
getting.
whoa.
Oh man.
Hey, come on,
Whoa.
man. Let's keep it a buck, man. Nas got bars, but he sucks at picking beats. He sucks at it.
Oh
Always
man,
did, always will. Like, come on, man.
Nas got some cold beats. He got a nice catalog.
No, he
right?
don't.
Like wait, what's that joint? Is it Memory Lane on
On Illmatic.
on Illmatic? That beat is hard.
Yeah, he
He
didn't
got a
pick
lot of
those beats. I need y'all to watch the video on YouTube. My man Salam that did the whole Fuji stuff.
yeah,
They all
Salam.
did. They helped him with the production. After that, it was all him, and you could tell the difference.
But yeah, like what I'm getting at, I guess, is not just the beats, but it's a combination, right? The beats and the lyrical content, the flow, all that kind of incorporates to a classic or traditional hip hop. So someone today could drop a traditional hip hop track. You know what I mean? It would have to be that traditional beat plus the lyrics and the content and all that stuff.
Well, let's talk about that since you made a point about that, talking about what traditional hip hop is, and you said hip hop's not dead. What is hip hop now? If it's not dead, where are we at now with the number one, number two, number three people who are out here selling? You know, you have a top tier, and then you got a second tier. Who would you consider the top tier artists in your opinion that represent hip hop to you?
Top tier hip hop artist right now would Kendrick Lamar. This is not in any order whatsoever.
No, just
It
off
can
the
be
top
with
of the head.
Kendrick.
You started off right.
Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake, and Big Sean.
Okay, so those are top tier. So what do you consider to be?
He just made that cut.
Let's say that is top tier. What would you say is the antithesis of that? Who are the artists who are the opposite of top tier to you right now, who are still getting money, who are still getting this hustle game on with hip hop that's not traditional or that's not quote unquote popular to you, G?
I would say the antithesis of those artists would be
Like who's dumpster
Lil
juice?
Yachty.
Dumpster
Lil
juice.
Yachty. You said what?
I said who's dumpster juice right now?
Lil
Shout out to
Yachty, Lil
Rob D.
Uzi Vert.
Shout out to Rob D for that. Lil Yachty's dumpster juice. Who else?
Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay, another Lil.
Damn, I really don't listen to that kind of music, man. I try to tune it out, but that's all I got for now.
But you know,
because I'm not gonna put Future and Migos and them in there because I still.
No, they like top tier, not actually.
No, they on the wave.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they on the wave.
So if they on the wave, would you put them top tier then? Would you really put them top tier?
No, I wouldn't.
So what are they? Go ahead, Rose.
I would as far as relevance, yeah, but as far as like numbers, I mean, if you talking about people who doing numbers,
yeah, we can't talk about numbers. That's why I said top tier to me is
numbers aside.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Impacted the culture as much as those artists you just named.
Well, Future and Migos, if they not there, then they're right there because I mean, Migos been running the anthems for the last few summers. Future has been on every major artist collabing, and even though his album,
he's still not doing numbers though.
But he dropped so many albums and he do so many shows and collabs with people. He still get money. Don't.
Oh yeah, no doubt about all of them getting money.
Right. So I would put Future. I would put Future because Future was the hardest rapper in the game.
Future gotta be tier one based on his.
No, he's not. Future would be like.
I'm talking about his impact. His impact.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with G. He's not top tier. We got to say what. Okay, you know what? Take a step back.
If you're talking about lyrics,
no. Top tier as far as the artist.
In terms of
totality of what he's brought to the table since 2011.
I'm talking about music.
Well, yeah.
You talking about what?
I said I'm talking about music. If we talking about music and hip hop right now, you heard.
Absolutely.
Hold on, Rose. You said you heard G say it was Drake, Kendrick, Big Sean, and who else? G.
J. Cole.
And J. Cole. Okay, so that's top tier of music right now for hip hop. Do y'all put Migos and Future up with those four as far as top tier, as far as music quality music of hip hop?
Now you changing your adjective.
You changing what you're asking.
Okay, because, well, correct it then. Redefine what we're talking about.
I would put Future in there. Okay, yeah, I would put Future in top tier because if you look at what Future's done the last 4 years, as far as like dropping all those mixtapes, I mean, Future was the hottest rapper out 2 years ago when What a Time to Be Alive came out. You cannot deny he was not the hardest.
No, that. Yeah, I think it was the fact that it was a collab with Drake that made it hot.
But he also dropped Dirty Sprite too.
Dirty
And
Sprite
people was
2 came
going
out
crazy.
Bro,
first.
And people,
put
right?
Gotti.
And people,
I would put
and people
Gotti
was going
over
crazy for
Future.
Evo. So
You
you
put Yo
cannot.
Gotti over Future? Hold on. You already just said
What? What?
Yo Gotti over Future?
Bro, Gotti will be tier 1 before Future.
Defend
Dog,
yourself, young man. Defend yourself.
bro, you listening to that
Bro, if
indie
you
music too
huh?
much. Future is
No, bro,
definitely.
just look at the streets, bro. Gotti does numbers in the streets and he does numbers outside of the streets more than Future does.
No, he
He
doesn't.
just had going down to the DM was his first 100 Billboard charting song ever. Future
Bro,
been charting for
Future,
5 years plus. That was his
Gotti?
first song that debuted on the Billboard.
Hey,
Yo Gotti,
tell him
yes. Like he's
Gotti
never
is not.
I
debuted.
don't
That
know
was his
about
first
that.
hit. You could
I
look.
don't
They
know.
said it. That was his first song that ever. That was his first hit. Like
Right, it was.
ever that charted.
That's a fact.
He had a hit, but it didn't chart on the top 100 Billboard. That's competing with the rock, the pop, everything. So Future been popping when it comes to Billboard. When it comes to the Billboards, Future been on that top 100.
G, you can't not know, baby. This is the forum. You got to say what it
Yeah,
is.
I mean, I don't know. I can't.
I'll let you. We gonna let them Google right now.
I mean, I get that you might not prefer Future's music because a lot of it is garbage.
No, I love Future's music. I have a lot of his songs on my phone, but I'm just being realistic in terms of if we're putting artists in tiers, Future would not be in that top tier for me.
I gotta
already
agree.
Top
I gotta
4.
agree.
I'll tell you why. I'll put him in it because outside of them four, who else was rocking besides them that wasn't like the biggest artist? It had to be Future. He had all the streets bumping.
But who else had you?
He's bigger than any street artist. He's the top street artist.
Yeah, you consider
bigger
Future
than
a street
T.I.
artist?
He talks about popping. What pop artists talk about drugs?
Well, the Weeknd talks about
drugs. I think about a street artist, somebody that talks about trapping and drugs. He talks about trapping.
You know what? And that's a great segue. And I appreciate you saying that, Smith, because my next question is, when we talk about what great music is, do we actually consider the content that the artists are selling us? They're selling us a certain persona, a certain perception. Future talking about Dirty Sprite, we all know what that is. For the people that don't know, I'll let y'all explain it because I got a job at a pharmaceutical company, so I can't really.
Dirty Sprite is promethazine and codeine mixed with Sprite or any other soda you like, but usually that.
Okay, so we got a mixtape artist, or rather a hip-hop artist, Future, doing a mixtape series about Dirty Sprite. Do we feel like we can really say that he is the epitome of what we should be even referencing in the same breath as a J.Cole who speaks on real life experiences that don't surround that activity, or Kendrick that doesn't surround that activity, Big Sean the same, and Drake the same?
I mean, go ahead, Smith.
When it comes to Future, I don't like all of his music, but most people I ask them, like, why do you like him? They say, he has that mood music. Like, you could be going to work and be pissed off, and he just got the songs he got just put you in that vibe, like, fuck everybody or whatever it is. You ain't got to be actually listening to what he's saying most of the time, because I usually just listen to him for the melodies. I really don't be listening to the words.
I think it's also kind of cool because each of those artists have their own demographic. Like, Drake appeals mostly to women. Obviously, as guys, we listen to his hot songs, but, most of his album is for the women. J. Cole is more for like the introverted or the like more like conscious crowd. Kendrick is kind of like in between the Drake and the J. Cole crowd. And then you got Future, who's appealing to people who.
Did you say Drake is for the what crowd? Drake is. Did you say? I just want him to make sure I heard right. Did he say Drake is for the conscious crowd?
No, I said Drake is for mostly the women crowd. I said J. Cole is for the conscious crowd. Kendrick is in between. Kendrick is kind of in between that too.
Kendrick is not in between. He's not First of all, he's not a rapper for females.
Hold on. But what I'm saying is he don't make female music, but women like him, and then also the conscious people like him. But he like I said, he's in the middle. He gets both crowds. He kind of dips and dabs in both of them.
I don't know about that one.
Okay,
bro, I don't know about that either. Drake, I think what makes Drake such a great artist and why he is in the top tier is because of his versatility, right? He appeals to so many different, sections, genres, groups of people across the board. Like, I grew up in England, right? So I have friends that like on Facebook from England, and when you hear or Instagram or whatever, like you should see the way they react to a Drake track or even Kendrick. He has mass appeal. Drake has mass appeal. So I wouldn't even say like he does music. He does do music for women or that appeal to women a lot, maybe, but I wouldn't say he does women music. He just does
emo. It's called emo rap.
Yeah, emo.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I will go with that. I think that was definitely early on in his career.
I say now is that and more of that kind of reggae / boxing, whatever. Like he's changing his whole style. Like now he want to be Caribbean.
He's embracing his culture in Toronto.
Man, he needs.
Yeah, but he's also appropriating. Honestly, if I'm being real about Drake,
you mean misappropriating?
Sure.
He's misappropriating because he's not appropriating from where he's really from.
Yes, exactly.
Canada.
But
Canada is not Barbados.
No, but it has a lot of the influence. No, I get it.
Toronto before. It's West Indian people in Toronto, so that's nothing. Yes. I've been to Caribana. It's nothing but West Indian people over there, and that's their culture over there.
I agree with you, but that's not his culture.
Exactly.
That's not his culture. He grew up with it.
But he didn't grow up with it. He grew up in a multicultural city, but he's not multicultural. He's just
taking it because he's like, oh, this is stuff that people do in Canada. This is what's popping in Canada, and he's kind of taking it. I mean,
it's like it's kind of culture vulturing in a way. He's like cannibalizing
that's exactly what it is.
It is.
Culture vulture.
Drake really is a culture vulture, bro. Because did you listen? How many of y'all listened to that last playlist by Drake, the album, The More Life?
Yeah, that's not an album.
Yeah, it's called a playlist.
Yeah, because it sucked that bad.
So y'all listen to it?
Yeah,
everybody listens to it.
Okay, all right, cool. So there are tracks on there that he features some grime artists, some grime UK artists, and it was interesting. But I couldn't help but think like, yo, like he's trying to make it seem like he's putting UK music on the map, but at the same time, this dude is really jacking their style and making a profit off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But no one was gonna call him out on it because he's Drake. You feel me? But like that is the definition of what they call appropriation, right? If Kylie Jenner can go do braids, get it popping, and make it like culturally popular or whatever, but then when a black girl does it, like, you know what I'm saying, like it's some sort of, it's stigmatized in a way. This is exactly the same thing, because if a UK artist try to bring that sound over here, nah, that shit whack. Like, it's weird. You know what I mean? Like, they sound weird, but Drake will copy the flow. He will copy like slang terms that they use and the instrumental. But then, you know what I'm saying? He's making money off it. That was...
So you would call Drake a leech. He'll suck you dry.
Will. Whoa. Exactly.
Whoa. He'll use all your talents while you're good. Pause. Because I already know the guys like Lip. He'll suck you dry and go crazy. I said, like, he take you for what you got. Take it all until there's nothing more left for you, and like, oh, I'm on to the next.
Yeah, and he's slick at it. I think
he does. He did it to the last dude that
the Weeknd.
Dude that he did it to him, and he did it to the guy that started the whole ghostwriting thing. What's his name?
I'm gonna need y'all to not say like he keeps sucking people dry and then just naming dudes.
No, don't get me wrong. Drake has talent. He's talented, and obviously you have to be. But at the same time, like, he doesn't have an identity because.
Oh, you know what, G, you brought up a good point right there, and I'm sorry I had to cut you off, but do you consider Drake? Everybody else you named may have a classic album except for Drake. Drake has not made a classic album out of, like, I don't know how many attempts that he's tried.
First of all, let me, how do I say, pretext is by saying,
here we
like...
go. Yep. Go ahead. Give him the precursor.
The precursor. I didn't start out a Drake fan, right? I thought he was too emotional. He whined all the time, and his flow was the same every single song when he first came out. But he progressed. And I could see the progression in his music.
So, what classic album did he have? That's the question. What's the classic album?
Right. Classic album, I would say he has two, right?
Whoa.
And you could choose. Whoa. You could choose one. Hold on. You could choose one or the other. To me, a classic album is a hip hop album, right? Or an album that I could play from beginning to end and not skip a track.
It doesn't have to be hip hop, because Luther Vandross had classic albums too.
No, you're
Love
right.
Luther. So go ahead with what were the two classic
Hip
albums
hop.
that you heard that we can negate right now? Because we about to go in on you.
The first album is Nothing Was the Same. Nothing Was the
That's a
Same is a
classic?
classic.
It's a
It
classic?
is a classic. It's a classic. And if you're reading this, is too late. I think if you're not gonna go with both, you got to pick one. One of those is a classic album.
I pick
That would-
neither.
You
I
said
mean,
what?
technically,
I pick neither. And technically, that was a mixtape.
that was a mixtape. Yeah, it just did well
Right.
numbers wise.
Yeah. I mean, Nothing Was the Same was
G,
yeah,
I
it was
told
a
you this.
mixtape.
I told you this. You can't
But-
consider a mixtape a classic album, bro.
Okay, then Nothing Was the Same, because Nothing Was the Same converted non-Drake fans to Drake fans. And I witnessed it, right before my eyes. Like, I mean, the most staunch Drake haters had to give him some credit on that album. That was the album where he kind of came into his own with that whole bravado, I'm the man, ain't nobody touching me, I'm doing numbers type, blah, 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 blah. Like, the production on that album from beginning.
So now we getting back to production and talking about beats, which you originally said is not as important.
I said it was
as
a
the content.
combination. I said don't forget about the lyrics and the topics that they talk about and the flow.
So
You can't just
what
focus on
topics
the
did
beat.
he talk about that resonated with you?
He said the
Yeah,
bravado.
that's where I was getting at. Yeah, he that's where he kind of came into his own, right? Where he became like Drake. Like, I'm Drake now, not Drake from however long ago. I'm the man now, right? And to kind of see that progression was cool. And with every Drake album, I don't think anyone can argue this. You get a little bit of everything. You get him singing, you get him rapping, you get the catchy hooks, you get him, wearing his heart on his sleeve, and you get tracks that are really conscious, that he really goes in, bar for bar, right? You're not going to get that the whole album. You know
I'm
what
gonna be
saying?
real right now. You sound real emotional right now. You just said that he goes from giving you,
I'm just keeping
No,
it real.
bro.
I'm keeping it 100. Yo, it's
ahead,
straight
go
fact.
ahead.
That album is a classic. If we
All
go on
right.
by, and let me just say these are albums that I consider a classic, right? College
No.
Dropout.
We gonna get there. We gonna get there.
No,
Yeah.
we gonna,
No.
Let me chime in real quick.
Go ahead, chime in on the Drake thing first, because I got that question
First off,
next.
I don't think Drake has any classics. I think he has two great albums. Take Care, I think that's his best album, but it's not a classic because for him to be, now, he's been rapping since 2009. I think So Far Gone was his best work, but Take Care album-wise, that's his best body because I actually think that's when he started the bravado talk. And he had the most diversity. That was his first time being as diverse. I think Nothing Was the Same was extension of Take Care. Like, there was no progression to me personally. I think that what was the other one you said? Not Nothing Was the Same. The mixtape
If you're
one.
reading this,
If
it's
you're
too
reading
late.
this, it's too late. Yeah.
Well, we can't even consider that his album because he didn't write that. Because
Oh my god, yo!
is that even his or is
What do you mean he didn't write it?
he did it with the Miller dude, whatever his
Quentin
name
Miller.
is. Quentin Miller. Like, your biggest tracks was the dude that referenced him to you, like, off that album. So first
I
off,
don't know, man.
you can't take
I don't
credit
know.
for that.
Do you know how many tracks by greats came from other people? Like, you can't discredit
Like,
just because an idea.
But
One
I'm
of
talking
Steve
about the
Wonder's
bars,
biggest songs
actual
didn't.
bars. He didn't write none of those bars he spit. I can see they help you with a hook here. Oh, say this like this.
How do you know
Everybody-
that though?
Have you heard the reference tracks?
Have you heard the reference tracks?
There could be. I don't know, man. No, like for real. Like, I've seen people post that kind of stuff where they're like, but that there's no timestamp. It could have been done at any time.
He said every line verbatim.
Right.
Do that.
Right, you can do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could do that at any time.
Hold on. So I think what G is saying is you could make
There's
a
no-
reference track after the fact, right?
Nah.
Is that what you're saying, G? Please say this.
You
What you're
did.
saying.
You
Never
can.
denied it. Drake never denied that the reference track is real or fake.
He
Right.
never
It's fake.
addressed it though. He
Right.
never addressed it though. You know what? And
Right.
we
Yeah.
talking about this Drake shit, but it's bigger than Drake right now. It's about hip hop, the culture, the community, the impact, and all of that jazz. So with that being said, I want to take a moment to thank my co-host J.Rhodes. I want to thank TheyCSmith, the producer, and I want to thank G for coming on, sharing this conversation. We got part 2 coming. Don't worry. This is Thinking Out Loud, baby. We'll be back next week. We out.
This episode of Thinking Out Loud was executive produced by J. Lip. Music provided by TheyCSmith. Artwork and logo provided by Rob D. And sponsored by you, the people. We thank you for listening.